Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you're just joining us, welcome to today's show. Thank you so much. It's so good to have you all here. And before I introduce my guest, I would like you to drop it in your comments in the comment section. Please let us know where you're joining from. Please let us know where you're joining from in the comment section. We would really like to give you a shout out. And thank you so much for taking your time to join us today. And on the show today, I have my sister. Sorry, everyone, that I'm bringing female speaker on the show back to back. Last week we had my sister Blessing from Mississippi, and she actually shattered the table. So today we have my sister, Mrs. Taiwo, all the way from Austin, Texas, and she will be sharing with us our own wealth of wisdom about marriage. And before I introduce her, I really want to thank her for taking out time to join us on today's show to even allow people to gain from our own wealth of wisdom. Thank you so much, my sister, Mrs. Taiwo. I really appreciate you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. We love you. To my viewers at home, again, let us know where you're joining from. We really like to give you a shout out. And actually, I will be giving out an airtime to people in Nigeria. Next week is my birthday, and I would like to share some airtime just to celebrate the day. So let us know where you're joining from, and also leave your network in the comment section. So, without further delay, I will let my guest, Mrs. Taiwo, all the way from Austin, Texas, to have the floor. Mrs. Taiwo, last week I put Mrs. Blessing on the all six. And sorry, I'll be doing the same thing for you today. I know that you're full of word of wisdom. So you will be helping us. I'm also going to learn from you and my viewers. And this show is actually to help our young adults out there to know what marriage is all about, and also to help the people that are married to stay married, because that is what we want. All right, Miss Taiwo, please let us know what you think marriage is all about. And do you think marriage requires a hard work? Over to you, my sister.
Thank you so much, Temilade. Thank you so much, Cecilia Howard, for having me on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. And for the viewers out there, for those of you that are seeing me for the first time, my name is Taiwo Agbaje. I am today I'll be sharing my experience of being married for as an individual that has been married for 15 years, 16 years now. I will be sharing some of the things, the tips, and what has worked, and my own opinion about marriage. But before I begin, I reside in Austin, Texas, and I'm married. I've been married for 15 years, going to 16 now, and I met my husband. We were friends for about 3 4 years before we got married. So I would say about 19 years together, close to 20 years together. And and we are blessed to have 3 kids. And my opinion about marriage, when it comes to marriage, is that for everything in life requires sacrifice and hard work, right?
Mm,
So, and marriage is not all that we are made to believe that it is. It's not always gloomy. It's not always rainbows and sunshines. There are definitely challenges. There are definitely sacrifices, and there are also a lot of hard work that goes into it. Now, as someone that has been married for 15 years now, I would say that the most important part that has really worked and that is still working for us is that for both of us, we see it as a partnership. And so seeing it as a partnership requires that each one of us have a part to play in the union, right? It doesn't just fall on the wife or the female, or it doesn't just fall on the man in the union. So when you think about it as being a union, a partnership, you both know that you have to play a part in it. And so that's the way that we've seen it. And then, in addition to that, we've also kind of looked at it from the perspective of our children, right? What kind of, when you think about the fact that the children, whatever comes out of a marriage, the children will be impacted either positively or negatively, depending on how you portray yourselves in front of them, right? And so, when you think about the children, and the impact that the marriage would have on their upbringing, on their mindset, on their mental space, right? You will you will be intentional about how you portray your marriage, how you ensure that you're committed to the union. And quite frankly, and that's why I said that it's hard work, right? Nothing comes easy. And it's hard work because there are a lot of sacrifices that has to be made. Now, when you talk about the sacrifices, you often find that one party may be doing more sacrifice than the other, right? Sometimes it's the wife doing making more sacrifice, sometimes it's the husband making more sacrifice. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, that we're just one, we are both one. So it doesn't matter who does this, that has the higher weight of the sacrifice. It still goes to to the same bucket, right? So that way you're not kind of looking at it from, hey, I did this, or you didn't do this, or maybe I did this more than you, and things like that. You will be working as a partner. So that's one thing to that I can say. And then the fact that it's an hard work is the reason why I would say that it's an hard work is also the fact that when before kids come in, you might be having, a lot of time together with yourselves, a lot of things going on. And then when you think about the fact that immediately kids come in, things change, right? Now, some of the focus shifts to now being having taking care of the children, you having to, cater for them, whether they're feeding, their education, and all of that. So those times that is being shifted away from both of you, a part of those times is now being shifted to the children. So that makes it a lot more harder for you to begin to now maintain the marriage, because prior to the children, it was all just both of you. You're always together, doing stuff together, having the dates and all of that. But when the children comes in, you find out that limited time, there's so much limited time you have. You have very limited time to really um dedicate some more time to yourselves like you used to have before the kids come in, right? So that's the part of the hard work. And then as an African woman, we're made to believe that when you get married, you're not just marrying your husband, you're also marrying the relatives as well. So, and oftentimes you find out that dealing with the relatives is even sometimes the hardest part of the union, right? Because your husband understands, both of you understand yourself, you know your flaws, you know what upsets you. Both of you understand each other, but oftentimes the extended family, the family on both sides do not often have insight into individual perspectives. And so a lot of times we've seen marriages that begin to have cracks as a result of intervention from relatives, from the sister of the husband, or the mother-in-law, or the sister-in-law, or whatever. And so as an African, being made to believe that you're not only marrying your husband or your wife, you're also marrying into the family. It now makes it a lot harder, because now you have to begin to think about how you will be. You have to begin to think about your relationship with your extended family, with your in-laws, right? Your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, and things like that. And having to, for an individual that has not been in that perspective, or has not been exposed to such big family, it becomes an issue. You now have to deal with, okay, how do I communicate with my sister-in-law? Should I use, what kind of respect should I give my sister-in-law or my brother-in-law? Or when they come visit, what kind of food do I have to cook for them? Things like that. You have to begin to think about that. And so having to deal with both the in-laws, then the sacrifices that comes with it, and then having to deal with, raising kids. Those are some of the key hard work that I see in marriage. But when you remove all of those external factors, if it's just between you and the husband or you and the wife, if you've done your own work very well while courting, before you come married, you've done your own work and you know that you both are a good fit for each other, marriage is often very enjoyable as long as you don't allow those external factors to come in, right? But by the time you begin to have external factors coming in into your marriage, aside from the children, which they are yours, by the time you begin to allow external factors, maybe in-laws and families getting into and pestering into your marriage affairs, that's when it now becomes even a lot more difficult because there will be things that people will be seeing things from different perspectives that you and your husband or you and your spouse are not looking at it from that angle, and so they will begin to bring in all sorts of different ideas, different opinions into the marriage, which usually begins to cause cracks in the marriage. So that's what I would say for now.
Wow, 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 wow.
Excuse me.
That's a lot within that short frame of time. Oh, Mrs.
Yeah.
Simon. Wow. So I'm gonna pick you up from what you said. You actually said marriage is hard work. And from all I can grasp, you said the hard work comes in from the perspective that you have to deal with your spouse as an individual. Then now you have to, then the kids now comes in. You have
Mhm.
to deal with the kids. That makes it more hard work. Then
Yes.
now you have to deal with your in-laws, the people that you are joining with. Because
Yes.
now, if you're coming from a family of three, your spouse has three siblings with him, making four. Now you have seven siblings, technically. So you
Yeah.
have to, what you're saying is that for young adults that want to get married, you have to study them, you have to know them,
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
you already know your spouse while you both of you were cutting. But
Yes.
you have to know your new siblings. Don't let me use the word in-laws.
Yes. Yes.
And you've not even added the fact that you have to know your spouse's parents also. That you have to know them, that because if you don't know them, study them very well, that can actually affect the marriage.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot of work, Miss Tayo. A
Yes.
lot of us don't know this when we're cutting. We just want to, we have that butterfly flying in our tummy. We just want to get married. And the, yeah, and the stress and the pressure from both, especially, let me talk in terms of a lady now, especially the ladies, mothers
Mhm.
saying, your spouse, who are you dating? I don't know, maybe you experienced this when you were in college. I know that they would tell you when you're going into college, I didn't send you to school to go date. But when you're about to finish up, they will ask you, who are you dating?
That's it.
But they didn't want you to date all along.
Yeah.
And I'll start putting the pressure on you. And God bless your soul if you have all these big aunties, big uncles, and you have an event, and they were like, we didn't see your Mr. Right. But
Hmm.
all these aunties, big uncles, they don't call us down to tell us this that you just told us. They just want us to go marry. They just want us to bring somebody home. They
Yeah.
just want us to get engaged. And all those big uncles, big aunties, what they want to do is, a lot of them, they just want that 1 day ceremony. They want to throw party. They want to
Exactly.
have their head tap. They
Yeah.
are not ready to invest in the person going into the marriage.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? Especially to our young adults out there. What do you have to say? Because it seems as if, from your opinion now, this marriage is a hard work. which you still have to convince me more. What do you have to say, Miss Taiwo?
So what I would say is that marriage isn't something that you rush into, right? Regardless of how well, regardless of what the pressure is from both ends, whether your family, your parents, and friends, it's not something that you rush into because it requires number one you to find the right person, right? And one of the biggest mistakes you can ever do is getting married to the wrong person.
Wow.
If a successful person, if you are successful, proud to be married, if you're a successful female or a successful man, if you
Mm,
end up getting married to the wrong person,
mm.
you're almost finished because
Wow.
that's going to affect, it's going to have a spiral effect on a lot of things in your life, your finances, your mental health, your physical health. It's going to have a lot of things down the line. And it's also going to impact the children that will come out from that union, right?
Mm,
So marriage is not something that you rush into because when you know understand the fact that getting married to the right person is more important than getting married early and getting married to the wrong person. You take
mm,
your time to scrutinize who you're getting married to. You take your time to understand that you guys are on the same perspective when it comes to different issues. And even though when you have different opinions and views about life, you understand that you can always come together and reach a compromise, right? You understand that okay, this person is someone I can live with. This person is someone that has the fear of God in mind. This
mm,
person is someone that is kind-hearted and is loving and caring, right? And
mm,
so when you kind of have that at the back of your mind that my goal is to get married to a God-fearing, a good person, someone that will be a good father to my children, that will be a good in-law to my family, then it now becomes more important than rushing into the marriage. Because when you think about the fact that when you get married, yes, the party is always fun, the big edges and the cars and all of that stuff, the merriment. As soon as that event is over, you're left with just you and your new family and your husband. And now everything going that's going to come out of from that marriage, whether it's good or bad, those
mm,
outside folks are not going to be there to help you deal with, a husband that is not that is abusive. They're not going to be there to help you deal with a husband that is not responsible, and a lot of things that you see out there. And so, what I would say is that um, it's easier to take your time. It's better to take your time and not rush into marriage as the result of peer pressure or societal pressure and getting into a marriage that will end up, causing more havoc to you mentally or physically or even down the line. And so, yes, it's good to get married. Marriage is good, particularly if you get married to the right person. It is
mm,
beautiful. It is
mm,
fun, exciting. It is exhilarating. It is just fantastic, right? But
mm,
knowing that that's the kind of marriage that you want, it now gives you you have to kind of be very intentional about who you want to spend the rest of your life with. And so, ignoring those external noises that are telling you to go rush into a marriage because your time is your clock is ticking. It's not
mm,
going to work, right? It's not going to work, right? Take your time. No, I could remember when before I got married, when I was still in college, I knew that there were specific things I wanted in it. I mean, I wanted my man to have. Like I really
mm,
put those things down, and I knew that okay, it was, and quite frankly, money was not even on the top of the list.
mm,
Even at the time, money was not on my list of qualities or attributes I want in a man. No, because I
mm,
knew the money would eventually come if I'm able to get married to the right person. Money is
mm,
not a important thing. So I had my own qualities I wanted, and quite frankly, those were the things that I looked out for, and
mm,
I'm thankful that I was blessed with a very, return that ticked all of those boxes for me, right? And that's why I said that, you know, you have to have your own virtues, and then you also have to understand what you want in a man, so that you don't get rushed into a marriage that will eventually eat the rock, and people will start laughing at you. People that were rushing you to get into marriage are the same people that will talk after I'll talk bad about the marriage when it goes down south, right? So you have to kind of take your time and make sure that you make the right decision. You don't rush into it. And also, yes, money is important. Money is good, but like I said, money is not the most important thing in a marriage. It is not. You could be married to the richest person in the world, and you could also be the saddest person in that marriage. That marriage could be your own pot of sadness, right? So we also have people that are not so wealthy, they're not so rich, but they're enjoying their marriage. Their marriage is beautiful, and that's why I said that money is not really the first thing to, to look out for in a man. There are a lot more important attributes that you have to be able to ensure that you have a good and successful marriage. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. So, Miss Taiwo, what you're telling us now is that uh, money is not the main thing.
No.
That you can get married to the most wealthy person on earth if money is the driving force and the person does not have a good character, is not God fearing. Um, I will be back.
Okay.
Okay, thank you
Um,
for coming
I would.
back.
I think. Yeah.
So you said someone could get married to the most wealthy person, wealthiest person in the whole world.
Hmm.
The person does not have good character, and if the person is not God fearing, the person that got married in the first place because of money will be miserable.
Exactly.
Wow. Hmm, that word is deep. Because I believe we're now in the world of uh this person, did you see their marriage proposal?
Yeah.
I can't marry someone that's not wealthy.
I'm not wealthy. Yeah.
Marry this guy, I can't marry that guy. And some people they don't even go because of money. Some people will tell you that I can't marry this guy. The guy must have the six packs, tall, dark, and handsome. What do you have to say about this? I know you have the wealth of wisdom. I need you to deep dive into that so that our young adults out there can know. They've not been into this journey before. You have been into this journey for 15 years, going to 15 years. Please share your own from your own wealth of wisdom. I want you to deep dive into that topic.
Yeah. So it's good to marry. So it looks like the question you asked is more on the physical features of a man, like
Mm,
tall, dark, handsome, and all of that.
right.
Everybody have their own desires and their own perfect man definition of a perfect man. But we also and we also have to kind of realize that you know when you think about the tall, dark, handsome, good looking and all of those, how many men do we have that has those qualities,
Mm,
right? And what would you choose between a man that has those qualities and would treat you differently or would treat you badly versus a man that is, versus an individual
mm,
that doesn't have 100% of those qualities,
mm,
but they have God fearing,
mm,
they are well brought up by their family. They are from a very good, respectable family. When I mean respectable, not
influential.
influential. I mean in terms of from a well brought up family, and they have from your interaction, they are kind hearted, they
Mm,
are kind, and they love you, right? And
mm,
they care, right? So when you look at those things, you find out that some of the things that we look out for some of the things that we look out for in marriages, right? Prior to us getting married as a young adult,
mm,
before we were trying to get married, we are looking for an husband, we're looking for a wife. Some of the things that we look out for
mm,
are, are sometimes not the most important things.
mm,
Because, for instance, if you're looking out for money, you're looking out for someone that is tall, that can answer, right? What if, yes, the person has the money? What if the person has the physical features you want, but he or she is a womanizer, he or
mm,
she is a liar, he or she is is not well brought up, or he or she is lazy. right? Now you've kind of neglected the key things that will make the marriage work. You've neglected them for material or physical things that eventually will fade away, right?
mm,
And one of the reasons why getting married to someone based on physical looks is not I wouldn't say it's not 100%. I wouldn't say that should be a tiebreaker. Is that what if you got married to someone that has those physical features,
mm,
and maybe at 5 years into the marriage, they got sick,
mm,
or they had an accident and something happened, or maybe you got married to a very beautiful woman, very beautiful, and something happened, or for one reason or the other, maybe they got into an accident or they got sick, and all of those physical things that attracted you to them fades away. Now look at we women, like we oftentimes before we get married, we have all our flat tummy, everything is always looking good and flat. Now a lot of women, I'm sure you understand where I'm talking from. Once you have your first child, second child, third child, our body is different, completely different. Now, if you get married to your wife because you got married to her because of this flat, skimpy, all of those things, and he or she got married, maybe had their baby through CS, and all those features just they're just nowhere to be found. They're not there anymore. So
mm,
does that mean you will not love your wife because those things that you got attracted to were no longer there? Or maybe due to one reason, sickness or the other, he or she has a scar or something. Would you now say because of that you're not going to love your spouse anymore? So that's one of the reasons why, I mean, my own personal opinion about it is that yes, those things are good, but they shouldn't be a tiebreaker, right?
mm,
Beauty should not be the number one thing. Yes, beauty is good physically and all of that stuff, but again, you have to everything has to be weighted, right? It has to be weighted. You could have a beautiful woman or an handsome man, and he or she may have a bad character. Would you marry someone that has a bad character, or would you marry someone that is a womanizer because they are rich, handsome, and all of that, and you know that this individual womanizes? Would you now go into that marriage knowing that, okay, this is this kind of person, this is the character of this person? That's why I said that character is still the the character is still number one thing, because you find out that marriages that survive the test of time, that
mm,
last to, you see, 50 years, 70 years of marriage, 60 years of marriage, you
mm,
realize that both parties are, I mean, from experience, for the ones that I've seen, we
mm,
realize that both parties were, throughout the period of their marriage, were true to themselves, where of course mistakes will happen, sins will happen. They were also God fearing. They're close. They have some kind of closeness to God, and
mm,
then also aside from that, they understand that the union is a joint effort, and they also believe that whatever comes out of that is going to impact their children. you
mm,
know. So in Africa, I often hear that they'll say, okay, I'm in the marriage because of my children. I've heard it several times that who will say, okay, I'm gonna stay in this. I'm not gonna divorce him because of my children. I don't want another woman to take over my children, to care for my children. That's because that woman understands that once he or she leaves that house and
mm,
someone else comes in, those children are not going to be well catered for, like she will take care of them. And so
mm,
that's why in the days where we were growing up, even our parents, despite the fact that, and that's why a lot of divorce is so prevalent right now, because a lot of things that our parents went through, the millennials of nowadays, ladies of nowadays, I mean, this generation can't go through a half of what our parents went through, right? And so that's why you see that in those days,
mm,
despite the fact that some men were still not responsible, some men were still so were still kind of, I mean, getting into infidelity, you still see the woman staying into that marriage. You still see the woman saying that, okay, I'm not going to leave because of my children. I'm staying there because of my children,
mm,
right? Now, when you take that situation and push it back to our current, where we are right now, a lot of marriages are getting, and people are going into divorce because they cannot withstand the pressure that our parents, went through in those days. Now, if a woman goes through, is in a marriage that is being that the husband or the wife is going through, or is is going into infidelity or maybe having an affair outside of the marriage,
mm,
oftentimes is that's just a recipe for divorce. That's just divorce, right? But
mm,
in those days, women of those days, they will stay into that marriage. They will still stay in that marriage and say, I'm going to stay there. And that's why when you're going into marriage, they will tell you marriage is not full of, it's going to be, you're going there to learn. You're not going there to have fun because they are saying that based on their own experience, what they went through, that you
mm,
might also go through the same thing. Just know that you have to be patient. You
mm,
have to be able to take all of the messes, all of the shit and all of that stuff. But right now the world has changed, right? Marriage is different from what it used to be in those days, in centuries. Now everybody wants, their man to be responsible in the house. The woman wants the husband to also help in the kitchen. They also want the husband to help take care of the children. They want it to be a joint effort, right? And so
mm,
that's why when you think about marriages that are successful right now, you will see that oftentimes there are marriages that both husband and wife are doing the work together. They are both, it's either they are both working, going out of the house to work, and coming in and taking care of the family together. No, it's not the wife that is doing all of the work. The husband is doing, the wife is doing their own part. And understanding that that is what will make the marriage successful in this current dispensation that we have right now is one of the things that I've seen that has really been beneficial for those that have been able to get their marriages to work up until now. And so, again, things have changed, right? So things have changed. Um, it's no longer where the man will sit down and spread their legs and the woman will do all of the work. Now men are beginning to see that women have also taken part of, they've taken a good chunk of the responsibility as well. They also go out to bring in money, and so as a result of that, they have to also take part in helping with whatever they can help in the house, whether it's taking care of the kids, whether it's even helping with some things in the house, some chores in the house, getting the kids ready for school, getting the kids ready for church, and things like that. And so when you think about it as a union, it makes it a lot more easier to handle, and then you will enjoy the marriage. You will also be able to be a good example for your children, because at the end of the day, again, you always have to think back about what effect would this have on the children. And in most divorce cases, it's very, very, very unfortunately, it affects the kids a lot. And sometimes I actually even think that it affects the kids more than the spouses, because at the end of the day, they really cannot voice out what they're going through, right? Sometimes they cannot voice out their emotions and they just bottle everything up. And at the end of the day, it kind of grows into something that when they grow up as an adult, it affects their mental health, it affects their psychological well-being as well. And so for me, it's just looking to ensure um, that making a frantic effort to make it work. And also communication is also very key, right? There are bound to be mistakes. Definitely, there are going to be situations where both of you will either do something bad or hurt the other person. But understanding that um, being able to say I'm sorry is very, very important. And that makes it a lot easier, knowing that okay, you're not going to bed with any animosity towards the other person. You're not letting your grudges extend to days. Like when you have a grudge in a day, make sure you resolve it that day, or you resolve it and let it just let everything go before you go to bed, so that you don't go to bed with those grudges. And that's one of the things that for us we do. I can't really say that. I mean, and I'm not saying this out of because I'm saying this based off of the. I mean, 15 years. I can't really say that we've not really gone to bed with grudges and say, okay, we have grudges for 2 days, 3 days. No. So we always kind of understand, okay, I've made a mistake, I'm sorry, and things like that. And we make sure that we resolve it right there and then. And also making sure that even when you're doing those conversations, the kids are not there. They're not there to see any of those, those things, right? And when you bring up your children in a house that is filled of love, that they only see their parents show love and affection towards themselves, it makes the children are going to it's going to impact the children positively. They're going to see life differently, and they're going to come back and tell you sometimes from their experiences at school that one of my friends is family is going through a divorce and they feel bad about it. They'll come back and tell you that, and they're going to see things different, like, oh, I kind of feel like they're fortunate to be brought up in a home that is peaceful, in a home that is love, and that their parents have been, they are, they're affectionate about each other, right? So again, thinking about the children is really important, and they come first to me. They come first, and yeah. So that's one of the reasons why, again, it's it's hard work. It definitely is hard work, but when both parties have kind of looked at it as from the perspective of we have to make this thing work. Like there's no plan B. We just have to make this thing work, right? And yeah, that there's no plan B. Well, how can I survive without you? Like, how can I survive without my husband? How can I survive without my wife? Like, so what are the things that we need to do to make sure that this thing works? You know. So those are the things that I would say. And so for those that are, young adults, is like I said, money is not it's not number one priority. Or it is not, because yeah, it is not. Money is not. Yeah. So
Thank you so much, Mr. Taiwo.
thank
Before
you.
I come back to you, one of our viewers, they have a question for you. But
Okay.
I am going to reserve mine to wrap up
Mhm.
with all what you said.
Yeah.
All what you said. Let me read out our viewers' question to you. Miss Bakare Wemimo from Lagos. So our question to you is that um hold on. Can you help? Actually, she has two questions for you. Can you help with real life problems, or I say situation that requires urgent attention, and how you overcome that? Like
Okay.
mm, real life problems. I would say, okay, maybe like example, how you overcome that.
Okay. Yeah.
And a second question is that what of ready and unready couples? Oh, okay. What of couples that are married couples that are fighting unseen battles? What can we say today?
Unseen battles. Is that what she said? Unseen
Yeah,
battles. Okay.
unseen battles.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So those are good questions. So the first one is that so one of the things that one of the an example I could give was, like I said, there are bound to be grudges. I mean, there are bound to be sometimes where you would, and so the first one that I would think about was, so I live in the US, right? You know that here in the US, oftentimes because of the way the culture is here, we kind of just walk, just want to walk. And someone like me, right? I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I end up working long hours. Like sometimes I might be working hours, and particularly with the nature of the work that I do, I find myself working long hours. So sometimes I would be working long hours, and I might not take care of some of the things I need to take care of in the house. Like some of the things I need to attend to. I'll just be here and then working and working and working. At the end of the day, I won't pick up some of the things I need to do. Right. So, and those things, one way or the other, impacts my husband, either his own schedule. If I'm supposed to do something I'm not doing, I've left it undone, it's going to impact his own schedule. So one of those scenarios was, I think I was supposed to pick my daughter from school. And I went for an event, and then when I came back, the school bus was already in front of the house, right? So typically I work from home, so I'm always at home to pick up from the school bus. But that particular day, I went out due to my schedule. I went out, I came back. I think I went to meet a client or something. I came back about 5 minutes before the school bus, after the school bus had was in front of the house. So the school bus was already in front of the house waiting, and they couldn't, of course, the culture here, they're not going to leave the kid out of there. So they were waiting for me. By the time I came here, I think they had been there for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Mm.
So, and for him, my husband is one that monitors, he knows the school bus. He's at work, but he knows almost everything going on in the house. He knows that, okay, someone has opened the garage. He knows,
Mm.
oh, someone has opened the door. So
Mm.
sometimes when someone is at the phone, he's going to ask him, there's someone at the door. Who is that? What's that person looking for? So he already knew that the bus was in front of the house. I didn't know because I was still driving. I was coming. So when I got, I took my baby out from the school bus, obviously, and then when he came back, it was right for him to be upset, right? Like, where
Mm.
did I go to? How come the bus was there? If he wasn't monitoring it. So he has a way that he monitors like everything that we like on his phone. He monitors almost everything just so that he makes sure that everybody, the kids are safe, I'm safe, and everything. So
Mm.
that's one of those things. And I knew I was at fault at that time. I knew it was just it was something that I could have done better differently. So in that scenario, he was upset. We talked about it. I apologized, and that was the last time that ever happened. So the next thing was, how could we avoid such things happening next time? So we got the same app. So I now have the app that I know what's going on. Buses are coming. I know a lot more, again, based off of that mistake that happened at the time. But that's just one of the examples where a mistake happens. We understand that that's not right, and then we apologize. Whoever is at fault is going to apologize, and then what are we going to do next to avoid such things? Again, that's another thing. This that
Mm.
has happened now, how can we prevent it going forward? Right. So
Mm.
that's one of the things that that's just how we resolve things. It's just one of those things that it's just an example. There are a lot of other examples that will occur. Sometimes it could even be things like, okay, I'm going out. Can we go together? I don't want to go, things like that, where I just want to stay at home today. I want to rest, things like that. But again, understanding the other
Mm.
person's nature and perspective. Okay, I know that if your spouse doesn't like to go out and you are the one that likes to go out for parties, like, you have to
Mm.
understand that your husband is not going to go going to parties with you. You're going to be the lone ranger. You don't have to force your husband to go to parties with you because you like to go to parties. He doesn't like to go to parties. So you have to understand everybody's nature, everybody's kind of lifestyle, and respect their lifestyle, so that it is not going to keep causing grudges in the marriage. Then when
Yeah.
it comes to the second question, like those that I think the second question was the
Fighting on same battles. Couples fighting on same battles.
unseen battle. So out for the unseen battles, I think that's just being close to God. That's the only thing that I can really say to that. Because when you say unseen battles, I feel like it's something that is beyond your power. It's out of your
Mm.
control. Like, you just don't understand how things are going. Even though you've tried everything to make the marriage work, it's still not working. Again, if you feel like if you have that marriage has children,
Mm.
um, number one, I wouldn't recommend staying in a marriage that is filled with physical abuse. If you're
Mm.
physically abused, that's a no. I wouldn't recommend staying in a marriage, even if the children, no matter what, you still have to get yourself to safety. Number
Mm.
one. I also wouldn't agree staying in a marriage that is filled with emotional abuse. Sometimes
Mm.
emotional abuse is even worse than physical abuse, right? But when it comes to things that are outside of your control, like you know that there's some power that is working against you, and you feel that, and maybe due to historical family issues and things like that, those are things that you have to take to God. Like, you have to kind of go back to God, do your own fasting, pray to God, and talk to your pastor, talk to your mom about it. And more importantly, is the prayer that you yourself can say to yourself. I know a lot of us always like to take our prayers to our pastor, our imams, and things like that. But what are you? How long? How close are you to God? I mean,
Mm.
how close are you to God in terms of, do you wake up in the morning, in the midnight to talk to God? Do you fast? Do you cry to God and tell God, this is what I want, this is what I'm going through, can you help me, and things like that? Because sometimes the prayers that we say ourselves to God is even much more powerful than the prayers that we are telling someone else to pray for us, right?
Mm.
You are crying to God, you're on your knees, crying to God
Mm.
night, telling God what your problems are, and So for that particular one, I would say closeness to God is the solution to that. That's
Hmm.
been, yeah.
Hmm. Mrs. Taiwo.
What other question do you have? Is there any other question?
I actually think marriage is a scam because of the work that it involves, which our elders don't tell us when we're planning to go into it. And they are quick to push us into it, and we get to figure it out by ourselves when we get into the marriage. But I think with all what you've said today, you've joined the four people that came to this show before you to convince me a little bit that marriage is not a scam. And I really, really appreciate all your wealth of wisdom today. To reiterate what you said to round up this show, so to our viewers at home, Miss Taiwo was able to tell us today that marriage actually requires a hard work. And she was able to break it down for us that the couples involved, they have to work by understanding each other. They have to work by helping their kids because now the kids are involved. It makes it more work. And they also have to work by understanding their spouses, siblings, and family to make the marriage work so that the marriage will not crack. And also, she was able to tell us that even in the marriage, you don't have to look for the most wealthiest person to marry because if you do, you'll be miserable. You have to base your marriage on someone that is God fearing, somebody with virtues, good virtues, that money will come along the line. Money should not be the main thing. And that's for our young adults out there. Money should not be the driving force. You should base your choosing of your spouses to somebody who is God fearing, somebody that has virtue, that will take good care of you. Then you also talk about prayer, making God the anchor of the marriage and the home. You said without God, marriages cannot work. And you also gave a word of wisdom in between by advising our viewers, the young adults that are about to get married, to set what they want carefully in prayer. God, this is what I want. And the people that are married, that they should pray to God. Wake up in the middle of the night, stop sleeping and slumbering, and pray to your God about your marriage. I think those are key. Thank you so much, Miss Taiwo, for the word of wisdom and for the advice you were even able to give to one of our viewers that asked you the question. That was so deep. And thank you to our viewers, Mrs. Wemimo, for asking that question all the way from Nigeria. We really appreciate that. Today, we're going to leave it at that. And we will leave it to our viewers at home to let us know what they think, if marriage is still a hard work. You can always send us your comments and we'll reply back to that. And we'll leave it to you. And I hope that you've been able to gain one or two things from what Mrs. Taiwo said today. And this is actually for people that are married. We want you to stay married, and for the young adult. And please try to share this video with your loved ones. Miss Taiwo, I really, really love you. I appreciate you coming on today's show. And I really, really thank Mr. Agbaje for allowing you to come on this show. And to my precious cuties there, your children, please extend our love to them. And I
Thank
hope
you.
we will call you next time you will come on this show.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So we'll be ending this show today and we will see you next week. I wish you the best week and keep safe out there. This is Cecelia Over. I love you all. Bye for now. Bye for now. Hmm.